Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over Landa as real estate and housing prices and insurance prices have started to go, in some cases up, and in very few cases started to go down. Now, for those of you that have been subscribed to the channel for a while, you'll know that I have I have several Landa videos, so check those out. But this is going to be a follow-up from a video I did about 6 months ago where I went through Landa, what it does. That's not going to be what this video is about. This is a follow-up on what I went through then and some of the updates. So if you look at my screen here, you'll actually see that Landa has moved. Probably the biggest update is the fact that they moved to web. So it used to be mobile only, and I have talked about before and I'll link it up right up here, where I was very upset the fact that it was mobile only. Now they have web. It was really hard to do a lot of the transactions that I needed, look at a lot of the houses, look at a lot of the properties that I wanted to invest in, all from a mobile, right? So if I look here on the main screen, this is the landing page for Landa. I know it's a little confusing. You'll see here, you can actually click on a property now and see better photos. You can drill down on the location. So again, if I look at something here in Atlanta, let's say I want to look at one of these properties, which I will say they've onboarded a lot more properties. I think they've done a fantastic job here from the web client. I'm actually gonna go down here. I'm gonna look at this one. You'll notice that it's a very clean experience. You don't get a lot of clutter. You're actually able to, again, see good photos. Now, again, I don't know how recently these photos were updated. I don't know how recent they are, but it's much easier to look at on web. You can actually go down here and see all the particulars of the property before you invest, such as the offering breakdown, the contract price, closing costs, even things like a photographer, property tax. You can actually go in here and see the offering circular. I'll open that up, and then you can actually see the operating property arrangement. Now, one thing that I found very interesting with this is things seem to be loading much faster than they were even 6 months ago. In the web client, you're able to share these out. So what I'm thinking is, I look at something like this, I take this offering circular, I can send it to my lawyer, I can send it to my legal team, I can send it to my investment team if this is something I want to continue to do. Okay, so going back to the Landa app, another thing some of you may have noticed if you were paying attention is, back when I did my original video, Landa was only offered in Atlanta and New York. Now they have offerings in North Carolina, and I heard there's some coming to Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida. Now, a lot of people have invested in Florida. Property values have went extremely high there, really since COVID hit. But one of the properties you can look at down here in Tampa that I've considered investing in is a lot of these either duplexes or single family homes for the retired community. That makes sense. There's still a big demand for people to move to Florida, have that income to put back into either to a rental or have the ability to continue to live in a warmer climate like that. I will be interested to see if Landa does expand into Arizona, Texas, even Louisiana, maybe Gulf Shores, Alabama, where more people are retiring as they're priced out of Florida. One of the other great things about Landa here from an update standpoint, and believe me, I have some things I want them to improve on, but one of the things is lending. So now this is a very new update. You can invest in rental property mortgages. So what this is, if you look down here, it's a way to invest in mortgages of residential properties across the US. You're backing real estate properties and earning monthly dividends representative of the current interest rate. So really, what does that mean? It means that you're basically buying, you're being paid dividends like you would in a stock, except now you're being paid dividends from a rental property. So when you buy shares in this, just like you would in stock, you're investing in Landa LLC. The funds raised or provide first mortgage loans to rental properties. Lend collects monthly interest from its mortgage portfolio, and the net proceeds from these interests are then distributed as monthly dividends. Be careful if you do that, though. Those are still going to be taxed at your current federal income tax rate. It's not passive. This is very active. Lending, you'll see down here, it's structured as a mortgage REIT. As long as you, as a REIT, there's no income tax at the fund level for that, but then there will be, you do get a 1099 at the end of the year for your dividends. And then you can reinvest dividends. It looks like they're doing that soon. So if you don't want to invest in actual properties and you just want to, collect your more, I would say, stable dividends, stable income from this, you can do that. It looks like they are paying right now 7.9%, which on some of my properties, that would actually be great. And on some of them, I would actually be losing money. Now, I'm going to go over into my portfolio, which I think this was a big update. I think this was a really big update. I've got a few properties in here. I've shown this before, but my two properties here I've got are one in New York and one in Atlanta. I like how you can now drill down and see a comprehensive overview. If you own properties in Alabama, Florida, New York, Georgia, you can see that. You can actually see your rental income. You can see your deposits. You can see the dividends you've been paid. So again, I'm not making a ton of money here, but this was mostly, I tried out this app to see what it was like and what kind of rates of return I've got. So in this case, 73% rate of return, made $714. It's been about a year since I've been on Landa. If I go down here, I can actually look at the two properties that I'm invested in. This is the one I have more of my money in. This is in Brooklyn. And I really like the ability to, I can look at each individual unit now. I couldn't do that before. I could see my total holdings, and if I want to, I can sell. Now, one of the things that I do caution people looking to invest in any of these real estate offerings, whether it's Landa, whether it's Fundrise, whether it's Diversify, it doesn't matter what it is liquidity. Liquidity of getting your assets out. So today I can buy up as much as I want, really, up until the price of the unit. So the purchase price was $2 million. I don't think there's that much left. There's definitely some shares right here. Yeah, 60% sold. So 40% of $2 million is what I could buy. However, when it comes to selling, you will notice when I go in here, even if I want to sell 88 of my 100 shares, I'm still going to have to wait for the entire purchasing price of the property to go through. Now, that may or may not, I don't know when that's going to happen. So if I go back down here, it says processing. That could take a while. It really could, because I need to find someone who wants to take that off of my plate. There always has to be a market maker and a market taker. You could be holding your shares for a while. So just really understand that, really be cautious of that. It's not a stock, it's not a bond, it's not cash, it's not a savings account. When you invest in these, you better have a long-term hold. You better have a long-term hold mindset, because it definitely could take some time to get rid of. The activity section, they've expanded on that, and then you have your normal profile. What are some things that I think they could do better? Well, if you look down here, they are starting to get into that chat bot, that, I don't want to say artificial intelligence, but that machine learning aspect of being able to automate a little bit more. You can actually open up a chat with them, which you couldn't before. I will say the chat does seem to work better on web than it does on mobile, which was great. And it was always hard to have a really in-depth conversation, add attachments, things like that, when I had funding issues before, when it was all mobile. But it looks like they're doing better now. I have a liquidity question. This is something where, you may get a response. You may not. Let me see what this actually does. I haven't done this in a while. Okay. And we'll just see what it does. It's actually been much snappier and much quicker. One of the things I dinged them on about a year ago was the ability to actually get customer questions answered and solutions found quickly. So if I go back to the main page, you can see they are continuing to expand. They are expanding over into Alabama. From what I've seen, a lot of their offerings in Alabama are stuck in Birmingham. Again, nothing wrong, but there does seem to be a pretty big demand. I do like the fact that you can filter in two ways. One, you can go up here and filter based on single family, what market you want to be in, etc. But I really like the fact that you can just immediately say, hey, I want safe neighborhoods only. And this will show you what this is like. However, the safe neighborhoods have not done exceedingly well. You do see there's an eviction there, which I thought was really interesting, because this house looks basically brand new, but there was already an eviction out of the property. And obviously when there's an eviction, that takes time, that takes resources, and away from the profit of what they could be doing if it was actually rented and not under eviction. Let's check out this one. This one's leased in McDonough, Georgia, and it does look like over the last year, you would have opening shares were $11.36. So you've made some money. Obviously, last fall prices were a little higher. Something must have happened to drive this down. But yeah, you can actually see the order book too of what people are buying and what people are selling. But I really like the ability to drill down more and see, you know, exactly what you want. Maybe it's schools, because traditionally people that are investing in great schools typically are not going to default or have an eviction on the property. A couple things we went over today. So the ease of use, I think, has gotten much better. Diversification, they're adding more cities, they're adding more states, which is great. And then the fractional ownership, you know, so you're able to buy and scatter out. What are some drawbacks first, and what are some things they can improve on? So a couple of the drawbacks are they do have limited property selection. So if you're investing in something like a Fundrise or Diversify, you're getting access to the entire United States, Central, Eastern, Western. You're getting opportunities all across the Sun Belt, where with Landa, you're stuck basically in the Southeast. Number two, as I've said before, is liquidity. So as you go through and you start buying up properties, and let's say you need the money, there's an emergency, or you know the property's appreciated 100%, you want to pull your profits out and do something else, you could have issues with liquidity. I've had issues with liquidity over the last year, and people need to really make sure they read the fine print and understand the finer points of what they're getting themselves into. What do I think they could be doing better? So I'd love to see, instead of picking individual properties here, I'd love for there to be an option where it walks me through what I'd like to do and then builds a portfolio for me, much like a Betterment or a Wealthfront or even a Fundrise will do, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's fixed income, equities, crypto, bonds, cash. I'd like to see them do something like this where, you know, for instance, I want A+ schools in Atlanta, at $15 a lesser share, and let it just go. Now I can build that filter in, sure, but I want them to make it even easier, continue to innovate, make it easier and easier and easier for the customer, the end user, the person that doesn't know much about either real estate or doesn't want to finagle with all these filters to understand and be able to start investing. Because if I come to this website or any website and I start to get frustrated, that's not a good user experience, and that's gonna cause problems. Obviously, Landa is still available on Mac or on mobile for Windows and for iOS. So, are you investing in Landa? Have you invested? I have. Check some of my other videos where I've walked through Landa. What returns are you getting? If you're not invested, would you invest and why? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, don't forget to design your financial freedom. Take care. Bye-bye.